Right now, while you are standing there watching this, something is happening inside the pipes in your walls. It is slow, it is quiet, and you cannot see one bit of it. There is a clog forming in your house. Not today, maybe not for a year, but it is being built right now, one thin layer at a time. And by the time the water finally backs up in your sink, that clog has been growing in the dark for months. Most folks wait for that day. They wait until the water pools and the sink burps and the whole thing smells like a swamp. Then they run to the store and buy a jug of something nasty to blast it back open. I am going to show you a better way, a cheaper way. My Uncle Ray taught me this one back when I was still carrying his tools, and I have leaned on it in every house I have owned since. It costs about $2 a month. That is it. $2. And it keeps every drain in your house running clear, so you never meet that clog in the first place. I have been fixing drains for better than 30 years. I have pulled things out of pipes that would turn your stomach. And between you and me, the folks who never call me are the ones already doing this one small thing. So stick with me. I have got 7 pieces to this, and number 6 is the one most people get flat wrong. It is the mistake that ruins the whole habit. We will get there. Let me start at the top. Number 1, the habit itself. Here is the whole thing in one sentence. Once a month, you pour a bio-enzymatic drain treatment down every drain in your house. Now, do not let that word scare you. Bio-enzymatic just means it is alive, or close to it. These are enzymes and live bacteria, the good kind, and they come in a tub or a jug at any hardware store. You are looking at $15 to $25 for a container, and that container is not one dose, it is dozens. Do the math with me. A tub runs you $20 and gives you, say, a dozen treatments for the whole house. That is under $2 a month. Some months, closer to $1. I told you, $2. You pour a dose in the kitchen sink, a dose in each bathroom sink, the tub drain, the shower, the laundry. Every drain gets fed. It takes you about 5 minutes to walk the house. And here is the part that matters. You do it at night, right before bed. Last thing, after the dishes, after the last shower, when nobody is going to run water for a good long while. I will tell you exactly why that timing matters here in a bit, because if you get it wrong, the whole thing is a waste. That is number 6, and I am not going to let you skip it. Now compare that to doing nothing. A clogged drain gets you a rooter call. That is a plumber with a snake, and that is $150 to $300 every time he pulls up to your curb. Let the grease harden and set, and now you are talking hydrojetting. $300 to $600. $2 or $300. That is the choice you are making every single month, whether you know it or not. Number 2. And this is the one that makes a believer out of you. How does $2 of bacteria beat a jug of chemical? You have to understand what is actually going on inside that pipe. Let me paint it for you. Your drain pipe is not clean inside. It never has been. Every time you rinse a greasy pan, every time you wash your hair, every time soap goes down, a little film gets left behind on the wall of that pipe. Grease, food bits, soap scum, and hair, all tangled up in a slimy coating we call biofilm. That coating builds, layer on layer. The pipe gets narrower and narrower on the inside, like an artery closing up, and one day it shuts. That is your clog. It was never a sudden thing. It was months of buildup you never saw. Now here is what the enzymes do. When you pour that treatment in and let it sit, those bacteria move in and set up shop right there on the pipe wall. They colonize it, and they are hungry. They eat. They digest that organic gunk around the clock, day and night, whether you are home or not. The grease, the food, the soap film, the biofilm holding all that hair, they eat the coating right off the wall. Think about that for a second. It is not clearing a clog. It is eating the clog before it can ever form. It keeps the inside of your pipe scrubbed clean all month long for $2 while you are asleep. That is the whole trick. A chemical reacts to a clog you already have. The enzyme prevents the clog you were going to get. One is a firefighter. The other one keeps the fire from ever starting. Ask me how I know the difference matters. I have opened up pipes on old houses where the homeowner poured chemical down every few weeks for years. The inside of that pipe was still caked. The chemical punched a little hole through the middle and called it a day. Never touched the walls. The fellow using the enzyme, his pipe was clean as the day it went in the ground. Number 3, and this one is free. Not $2, free. Once a week, in your kitchen, you run the hot water and squirt in a good bit of dish soap. Then you let that hot, soapy water run for a minute or two right down the drain. Here is why. Your kitchen drain is the worst one in the house. It is the grease drain. Every pan, every plate, every bit of cooking fat that sneaks past you, it all heads down that pipe. And grease is sneaky. It goes down warm and liquid, then it cools off in the pipe and turns solid, like bacon fat left sitting on the counter. That is what is hardening on your kitchen walls right now. The weekly hot water and soap flush keeps that grease warm and moving. The soap breaks it up, the hot water carries it on out past your trap and down the line before it can set. You never give it long enough to harden in the first place. Now, one caution, and write this down, because folks get it wrong. Hot water, not boiling. If you have PVC pipes, and a lot of you do, especially the trap right under the sink, boiling water can soften that plastic and warp your joints. I have seen a trap go loose from somebody dumping a kettle down it every night. Hot from the tap is plenty. Leave the kettle for your tea. So now you have got two things working together. The enzyme colony eating the buildup all month, and the weekly flush keeping the grease from ever setting up. Belt and suspenders. That is how my Uncle Ray ran every house he touched, and I never once knew him to call a plumber for a slow drain. And I have not even gotten to the cheapest piece of this yet. Number 4 costs you about the price of a candy bar, and it stops half your clogs before they ever reach the pipe. Quick word before number 4. If this is already saving you a plumber bill, do me a favor and hit subscribe. This is the Vintage Pipefitter, and every week I walk you through another repair you can do yourself, the kind that takes years on the job to learn. It is free, it takes a second, and it keeps these walkthroughs coming when something in your house breaks. Number 4, the strainer, $2 to $5, and it is the laziest money you will ever spend. A strainer is just that little basket or screen that sits down in your drain and catches stuff before it goes in. You can get one for every drain in the house for pocket change. A basket for the kitchen sink, a hair catcher for the shower and the tub, a little screen for the bathroom sink. Here is the thinking. The best clog is the one that never gets in the pipe at all. Hair is the #1 enemy in a bathroom drain. It goes down, it tangles up in that biofilm, and it builds a net that catches everything else behind it. Food scraps are the same story in the kitchen. Stop them at the surface, and they never get the chance to start a clog down below. And a strainer is a 2-second job. When it fills up, you pick it up, knock it into the trash, rinse it, drop it back in. That is the whole maintenance. No tools, no mess. You are throwing that hair in the garbage instead of feeding it to your pipe. Now put the 3 of these together, and you can see the whole system. The strainer stops the big stuff at the top. The weekly flush keeps grease from setting in the middle. And the enzyme eats whatever fine buildup slips past both all month long. 3 layers. One of them costs $2 a month. The other 2 are basically free. And a plumber never pulls up to your house. That is the whole habit right there. But there is a reason most people still fail at it. And it comes down to a couple of mistakes I see over and over. That is coming. First, let me tell you about the stuff you should never put down your drain thinking it will help. Number 5, the chemical drain cleaner, the jug under about every sink in America. And I want you to think hard before you ever pour it down a pipe again. I know why people reach for it. Drain is slow. You grab the strongest thing on the shelf, you dump it in. Feels like you are doing something, but let me tell you what is actually happening down there. That caustic cleaner works by heat. It creates a chemical reaction that gets hot, real hot, right there inside your pipe. On an older house with metal pipes, That heat and that caustic go after the pipe itself. On any house, they go after your rubber seals and gaskets, the very parts that keep your joints from leaking. I have been called out to fix a leak that a drain cleaner caused. The clog was gone. The pipe was ruined. Ask me how I know, and here is the kicker. Even when it works, it does not really work. That chemical punches a channel straight through the middle of the clog. Water runs again. You think you won. But it never touched the walls. All that coating, all that grease and biofilm, it is still sitting right there. So the clog comes right back. And what do? You buy another jug, $5 to $10, again and again and again. That is the trap. They are not selling you a fix. They are selling you a subscription. The clog always comes back because the stuff only ever clears the hole. It never cleans the pipe. The enzyme is the opposite in every single way. It does not heat up. It does not eat your seals. And it does not punch a hole and leave. It cleans the whole wall, and it prevents the next clog instead of reacting to this one. That is the difference between $2 a month that ends the problem and $10 a month that never does. So that jug in your cabinet, between you and me, that is not a tool. That is the thing that keeps you needing the tool. Number 6, the one most people get wrong. And if you take nothing else from this whole video, take this, because it is the difference between the habit working and the habit being a total waste of your $2. The enzymes need time. That is the whole thing. Those bacteria are alive and they work slow. They need several hours of quiet, undisturbed time to sit in that pipe and eat. No water running, no flushing, nothing washing them down the line before they have done their job. That is why I told you back at number 1 to do this at night. You pour it in before bed, and it sits there working all night long while nobody in the house runs a tap. By morning, it has had its hours, but if you pour it in at noon and then run the dishwasher an hour later, you just rinsed your $2 right down the drain. The timing is the whole game. Second mistake, and this one is just as big. Enzymes prevent clogs. They do not rescue a drain that is already blocked and holding standing water. If your sink is full of water that will not go down, the enzyme cannot even reach the clog. It just floats there on top. You have to clear that blockage first, get the water moving again, and then start your monthly habit to keep it from coming back. This is a maintenance routine, not an emergency tool. Third one, and hear me on this. Never, ever mix these with bleach or a chemical cleaner. The chemical kills the bacteria dead. You are pouring live workers in and then poisoning them in the same breath. Pick one lane. If you have been using chemical, flush the pipe with plain water, wait a day, and then start clean with the enzyme. Get those 3 right, and this habit runs itself for years. Get them wrong, and you will swear the stuff does not work, when the truth is, it never got the chance. Ask me how I know. I made every one of those mistakes myself before Ray set me straight. Number 7. And I am telling you this one because I am not here to sell you a miracle. I am here to tell you the truth so you know exactly what this does and what it does not. This habit handles your fixture drains, your sinks, your tubs, your showers, your laundry, the clogs that come from organic buildup, the grease and the hair and the soap. That is what the enzyme owns. For that, it is the best $2 you will ever spend. But there is one clog it cannot touch, and you need to know the difference so you do not waste your time. That is a main line clog from tree roots. Here's what happens out there. Your main sewer line runs underground, out across your yard, and tree roots are always hunting for water. They find a tiny crack or a loose joint in that line, and they grow right into the pipe into a thick root ball that catches everything coming down. That is not organic buildup you can eat away. That is a structural problem, a physical thing growing through your pipe. No enzyme fixes that, and no chemical fixes it either. Do not let anybody tell you otherwise. That one takes a professional with a powered auger to cut those roots out, and sometimes a camera run down the line to find where they are getting in. So how do you tell the difference? If one drain is slow, that is your fixture, and the enzyme is your answer. But if every drain in the house is backing up at once, the toilet's gurgling, water coming up in the tub when you run the washer, that is your main line talking, and that is a call to make. Knowing which is which saves you from pouring product at a problem it was never going to solve. And that brings me to the bonus, the one I hold back for the folks who stick around to the end. This is a little trick I use myself, and it squeezes the absolute most out of your $2. Remember what I told you at number 6. The enzyme works on time. The longer it sits undisturbed, the more of that pipe wall it cleans. A night is good, but you know what is better? Days. So here's what I do. The night before I leave for a weekend or a trip, before I lock the door and pull out of the driveway, I walk the whole house and dose every single drain. Then I leave. And that enzyme sits in those pipes for 2, 3, 4 days straight, with not one drop of water running through the house. No taps, no showers, no dishwasher, nothing to wash it down before it is finished. You come home to the cleanest pipes in the neighborhood. That colony had days to eat instead of a few hours. Same $2, but you got triple the work out of it. Free. And while you are at it, do not forget the drains you never think about. The guest bathroom nobody uses. The basement floor drain. The utility sink out in the laundry room. Those are the ones that sit quiet and forgotten. And quiet is exactly where a clog likes to grow. Feed them too, especially before a trip. That is where the buildup hides. And now you will get to it first. That is the whole system. Before you go feed your drains, thank you for spending it with me. If you got value here, subscribe to the Vintage Pipefitter. Every week, I bring you another honest repair from 30 years on the job. The kind of money-saving fix nobody tells you about until the bill shows up. No hype, just the stuff that works. See you next week.